Good morning, everyone. Good morning. We are thankful that everyone here. It's a pleasure to see everyone. It's an opportunity that we have, and we're so grateful that we're able to have this meeting for our community. And thank you all for being here, and thanks to all of our guests. With that, I am calling the meeting to order. And at this time, I would like to call on Pastor Alice Hubbard, who will lead us with the invocation. And if we can stand, and after that, Councilman Gordy will lead us with the pledge. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Our Heavenly Father, we come to you this morning asking you, Lord, just to watch over this council, watch over each and every commissioner, Lord, and all of the things that they have to deal with each and every day. Father, bless them and bless their families, Lord God. Be with them as they support each other. Father, we all need each other as well as the staff members, Lord. We need each other in order to work in a better place to show your glory and to show that you can work in all atmospheres, and there's nothing that we can do that we can't do without you. Father God, in the mighty name of Jesus, we thank you for this day. We bless your holy name, and we ask you to seal each and every agenda that we have on today for your purpose. In Jesus' name we pray. Hallelujah. Amen.
Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Hubbard, and thank you, Councilman Gordon. We appreciate it. And again, we thank everyone for being here, and we certainly thank our community. So proceeding on with our agenda, Council, at this time, I would like to ask for a motion to appoint Shannon Davis as the acting clerk this morning. May I have a motion to approve that, please?
Motion to appoint Ms. Davis.
All right, motion by Councilman Day. May I have a second? Second, Councilman Gordon. Okay, we have the motion and the second. All right, call for the vote.
Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy?
Yes.
Mayor Lowe?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, Council, we do have a proclamation that I will call upon Mrs. Davis to read, representing the Friends of the Library Week. So, Mrs. Davis.
Whereas Friends of the Phenix City Russell County Library raise money that enables our library to move from good to great by providing the resources for additional programming, much needed equipment, support for children's summer reading, and special events throughout the year. And whereas the work of the Friends highlight on an ongoing basis the face that our library is the cornerstone of the community, providing opportunities for all to engage in the joy of lifelong learning and connect with the thoughts and ideas of others from ages past to the present. And whereas the Friends understand the critical importance of well-funded libraries and advocate to ensure that our library gets the resources it needs to provide a wide variety of services to all ages, including access to print and electronic materials, along with expert assistance in research. And whereas the Friends' gift of their time and commitment to the library sets an example for all in how volunteerism leads to positive civic engagement and the betterment of our community. Now therefore, I, Eddie Lowe, Mayor of the City of Phenix City, Alabama, and on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim the week of October 16th through October 22nd, 2022 as Friends of the Library Week in Phenix City, Alabama, and urges everyone to join the Friends of the Library and thank them for all they do to make our library and community so much better.
Mr. Fowler. How you doing, Mr. Fowler? She knew when my hair was black. Well, listen, on behalf of myself and this council, we do would like to present this to you all have heard there's a lot of moving parts in this proclamation as far as electronic, as far as research, as far as people helping to make our community better. So what better way is it to serve our community by equipping people to be able to have access to learn knowledge, because knowledge is really, really powerful. So on behalf of myself and this council, I would like to present you all with this proclamation. Thank you. The mic is yours.
Okay,
And listen, let me warn you now, I can do this, but she gonna get it. Now, just don't talk too long, because I know you, but I think.
yeah.
Relax it, Chris.
This is Ron Bass, who's one of the active friends of the library, and we are very pleased to be here today, and we appreciate this proclamation. But if you noticed in front of you this morning, when you got here, there was this little tag. It is advertising our bag sale, which is Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of this week, from 10 till 2 each day. And what you do is come in front, you buy a big brown paper grocery bag, and anything you can get inside for $5. And then anything you can get inside that bag is yours. So it's a good deal. We've got children's books. We've got more categories than Dewey Decimal System. So we've got any kind of book you might be looking for. And we do appreciate this, and you all got one too. So we're going to look for you on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Powell, and thank you for your passion. See? And if you all decide to leave, I promise you it will not be held against you all, and we will still love you. But Ms. Powell, we appreciate your passion. Thank you so much. Proceeding on now, council. Under city clerk, at this time, I'd like to ask for a motion for the approval of the regular scheduled meeting minutes for October the 3rd, 2022 work session, as well as October the 4th council meeting, and we will take these separately. So with that, at this time, I'd like to call for a motion to approve the October the 3rd, 2022 work session. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion from Councilman Day. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Bailey. Mrs. Davis?
Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy?
Abstain.
Mayor Lo?
Yes. Proceeding on, council, at this time, I'd like to ask for a motion for the approval of the October the 4th council meeting. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilman Gordon. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilwoman Johnson. Okay, Mrs. Davis?
Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes. Thank you, Mrs. Davis. Thank you, council. Proceeding on, council, at this time, are there any unfinished business? Well, I have to say for me it is, because I've been challenged and I'm going to have to step up to the plate. My eye doctor challenged me yesterday, so I can't let him down. So we're proceeding on. Since there's no unfinished business, we would like to proceed with the resolutions and under administration. At this time, council, we do have a resolution number 2022-225 to be ratified in reference to rescinding resolution number 2022-197, accepting a bid from Cavco Services LLC for the demolition and clearance activities for 8 properties as part of the CDBG grant project number LR-CE-PF-20-009, Phase 2. Mrs. Davis.
Now therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama, that resolution number 2022-197, adopted and approved September 20th, 2022, in reference to accepting the bid from Cavco Services LLC for the demolition and clearance activities for 8 properties as part of the CDBG grant, project number LR-CE-PF-20-009, Phase 2, is hereby rescinded. Passed, approved, and adopted this 11th day of October 2022. Ratified this the 18th day of October 2022.
Okay, thank you so much, Mrs. Davis. Council, we've all heard the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to ratify. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to ratify.
All right, we have a motion from Councilman Day to ratify it. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Gordon. Comments or discussion, council? Okay, Mrs. Davis?
Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes. Proceeding on, council on administration, we have resolution number 2022-226 to be ratified in reference to accepting a bid from AAA General Contractors Incorporation for the demolition and clearance activities of 7 properties as part of the CDBG grant project number LR-CE-PF-20-009 Phase 2. Mrs. Davis.
Whereas the City of Phenix City has solicited sealed bids for the demolition and clearance activities involving the city's Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, project number LR-CE-PF-20-009, Phase 2. And whereas the apparent low bidder meeting the specifications required for the demolition of 7 properties, which was from AAA General Contractors, Inc., in the amount of $79,550, said bid having met all specifications as required. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama, does hereby accept the bid from AAA General Contractors, Inc. for the demolition and clearance activities for 7 properties as part of the CDBG grant, project number LR-CE-PF-20-009, Phase 2. Passed, approved, and adopted this 11th day of October 2022. Ratified this the 18th day of October 2022.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Davis. Council, we've heard the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion, please. May I have a motion?
Motion to ratify.
All right, we have a motion from Councilwoman Johnson. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Bailey. Council, are there any comments or discussion? Okay, Mrs. Davis?
Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes. Thank you, council. Next, on the Administration Council, excuse me, is resolution number 2022-227 to be ratified in reference to rejecting a bid received on property located at 320 12th Avenue South due to exhaustion of grant funds for the demolition and clearance activities as part of the CDBG grant project number LR-CE-PF-20-009 Phase 2. Mrs. Davis.
Whereas the City of Phenix City has solicited sealed bids for the demolition and clearance activities involving the city's Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, project number LR-CE-PF-20-009, Phase 2. And whereas in Resolution 2022-198, adopted and approved September 20th, 2022, the city rejected bids due to the exhaustion of grant funds on 4 properties: 708 Williams Avenue, 823.5 13th Court, 1002 2nd Place South, and 1220 8th Street. And whereas the city has need to also reject bids received on additional property located at 320 12th Avenue South due to the exhaustion of grant funds. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama does hereby reject the bids received on 320 12th Avenue South due to the exhaustion of grant funds for the demolition and clearance activities as part of the CDBG grant, project number LR-CE-PF-20-009, Phase 2. Passed, approved, and adopted this 11th day of October 2022. Ratified this the 18th day of October 2022.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Davis. Council, we have all heard the resolution, the reading of the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to ratify. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to ratify.
All right, we do have a motion from Councilman Day. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Gordon. Comments or discussion? Okay. Mrs. Davis?
Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes. And council, now proceeding on the Economic Development and Planning Department. We have a resolution in reference to authorizing the mayor and the city manager to sign and enter into a contract with Orchestra Partners Development, LLC, in the forming of a local equity seed fund to support downtown and riverfront development. Mrs. Davis.
Whereas the City Council of the City of Phoenix City would like to enter into a contract with Orchestra Partners Development, LLC, for professional services. And whereas the city, in partnership with Orchestra Partners, completed a downtown/riverfront vision plan on September 20th, 2022. And whereas the city would like to re-engage Orchestra Partners with the development of a local equity seed fund formation to kickstart the pre-development work centered around the vision plan. And whereas the desire by developing this seed fund is to involve local investors with an opportunity to invest in the future of Phoenix City's downtown and riverfront. And whereas the fee for the setup of this fund is $35,000. And whereas the city and Orchestra Partners will have 15 weeks after the execution of this resolution to collect the necessary investment to fully fill the fund. And whereas if the fund formation is successful within 15 weeks, the city will be fully reimbursed by the fund. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama does hereby authorize the mayor and city manager to sign any documentation necessary to hire Orchestra Partners Development, LLC for professional services in the forming of a local equity seed fund to support downtown and riverfront redevelopment. Passed, approved, and adopted this 18th day of October 2022.
Thank you. Council, we've heard the resolution. I'd like to ask for a motion at this time, please.
Motion to approve.
All right, we do have a motion from Councilman Gordon. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Johnson. Comments or discussion?
Yes, Mr. Hunter, can we get somebody to elaborate on that for us? For the citizens of Phoenix City, I know Ms. Hathaway said she has some invested all the way.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna have Sean cover.
My question is this: are these investors, they on this side of the river, or is this anybody?
It depends.
Oh, okay.
It depends on who love Phoenix City. If you love Phoenix City, you can come from the moon. You know what I mean?
I'm just wondering.
Yeah, it depends on who loves Phoenix City like we do.
Yeah,
We want to make sure it happens. But, wonderful answer, because I love Phoenix City. The key to it, Sean, explain to them, because we have, and because of outside sources that steadily going on Facebook, trying to make the city look bad, I want to explain to the public what the seed fund really is and how it replenishes itself and everything else. So I won't have to worry about anybody calling me up saying the city is begging people for money, because the city is sound in its financial dealings. So let's explain. And I hate that it seems like we're having to go so basic and elementary, but that's the only way to go with it.
So they
to
can
make sure
understand.
people understand
Yeah.
what's going on here.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So, great answer, and that's absolutely true. The investment of the seed fund is truly for the people that have a love and a deep desire to see Phoenix City grow and then get to the next level. So, this is a logical phase 2 for our partnership and for our work with Orchestra Partners. And so, we completed the plan in September, and our intent now is to go to the next level with these guys. And what that is, this is really the part of the plan or the part that was most attractive to us about Orchestra Partners, was this next phase. We've had great plans done in the past in downtown and comprehensive plans throughout the city, but a lot of times what happens with plans is at the very back of the book, you get a list of implementation steps and a list of potential resources and those kind of things. And those are very valuable, and you can use those, and they're made up intentionally. But what ends up happening is that's where a lot of times plans end up stalling in some cases, because you don't have that extra oomph to get it over the goal line. So this is what these guys bring to the table. And I'll be honest, this is a unique approach. It's a unique approach to us, and a unique approach nationwide to developing in downtown. Developers do this all the time. We're just simply applying this to a municipal format. So what this is we're looking to get anywhere from 7 to 15, somewhere around that range, individual investors willing to put up a relatively small portion into a fund that will essentially go into the pre-development work of our vision plan. So you guys in the city approved the vision plan in September, which is our stamp. This is the direction that the city wants to go as far as the vision plan is concerned. Now is the developer that's going to put the money up to say, now I want to help implement that plan, and here's how I can do it. So it's an investment. It's truly an investment by them in the city, just like stocks and just like other investments. They'll put this money into the real estate. So what they do is they'll compile this money into the plan, and they'll get, into the fund, and they'll have a voting right to determine which projects they'll actually go after that the vision plan has laid out for them. So they'll go after individual projects. A lot of times it's not the larger scale projects, it's the smaller ones, the individual infill projects that really help those larger projects make sense. So what happens is we've got 15 weeks to fill the fund. So that's when after today, the clock will begin to tick, and we'll have to begin hard work to fill this fund for 15 individuals or so, give or take, to fill this fund. And so that's where I think we got to dig deep. And once that fund is full, that fund actually goes back to fulfill our investment of $35,000 that we're investing in this now. The fund will actually go back to reimburse it. If the fund doesn't fill, then it doesn't. But that'll be our responsibility to try to fill that fund, and that's going to be our work for the next 15 weeks to do. And then that keeps Orchestra Partners. They're going to manage that fund, and so we're not going to be involved in the individual projects they're going to work on. The people that invest in the fund will, and so Orchestra Partners will manage that for us. So they'll take care of all the details as far as that's concerned. And so, again, it's a logical step too. It's a unique approach, but we feel like it's what we've been missing for so long is really getting that local investor involved into what our downtown front looks like. And so we feel like this is a good opportunity to make that happen.
So Sean, it doesn't necessarily have to be 15 persons. Is the key point the 1.5 million?
So
Is that the driving factor?
$1.5 to $2 million is what we're going for. We really want to get $2 million, but we've decided, or they've worked with us and decided that 1.5 million fills the fund. That completes what we're looking for. So as long as we get to $1.5 million, we're good. Now, investors can invest larger chunks, but what we want to do is really want to spread it out amongst a handful of investors so that it becomes more palatable. What we've learned is that you can go to build an apartment complex on a piece of property that you're familiar with and that you've done 15 times over, and it's a real easy thing to pencil out. What happens in downtown development is it can be risky because it's unique and it's different. And so what happens is all these individuals put their money into a fund where it reduces the risk in the pre-development work. So the engineering, the design, the beginning costs that tend to run people off is being shared by a multitude of people. So their investment is much smaller. Then it gets to the project to a fundable phase. Once we get to a fundable phase, we're going to go back to those investors and say, all right, this is financeable, this project works, it pencils out, we've got the tenants, XYZ. Do you want to continue to invest in it? If they choose not to, then we can take that to the market. And then we're taking to the market a financeable project. So then we're opening that up to anybody in the world to come invest in it, quite frankly. But as Mr. Hunter mentioned, we're not controlling this to just Phenix City people by any means. People have a love and a desire to want to see Phenix City move forward. Obviously, we want our local people to be heavily represented on that board. And that's Phenix City, that's Columbus, that's the region, that's the area. Anybody that cares and wants to do that and wants to make that investment, we want them to be a part of the team.
Well, Sean, what's the minimum amount of investment a person?
So as of right now, our number is about $150,000 to $200,000 an individual is what we think is going to be a good, solid investment for them to come in. And I'll be honest, we've been surprised, and I think Ms. Attaway addressed this yesterday in the work session. We've been surprised. I mean, we've got the typical ones that run through our minds that we think will be a part of this, we want to be a part of this. We started getting phone calls from folks that we really probably would not have been on the list originally. And so that's encouraging to us to see. So.
Well, it's a great opportunity. This is nothing that's new. It's always been done, even in forming corporation. And Sean said the key word, board. I don't know whether he intentionally said it or not, but actually those person will be a board that decides how it works and you have opportunity to become, for layman terms, shareholders if you want to.
Exactly.
So it's nothing new. I don't know, is this the first time or not this ever happened for Phenix City? I don't know that, but I can tell you it's something that is not new as far as from a business standpoint, as far as investors. So it says a lot about our community. that people wants to be here.
Yeah.
Specifically, Mayor, I'll add to it that these guys, orchestra partners, have been doing this in private development for years. And what they realize is we're doing this in private development, why can't this model be transitioned to a municipality? And so that's exactly what we're doing, is taking that simple model and doing the entire format.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Sean, let me ask you one other question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, once these investments do, this project is complete, finished, you're saying they can either take the funds out or either reinvest it?
So once we get, so what this is for is for the pre-development portion. So the design, the engineering, getting a project to a certain point, which tends to be the most risky, right? So once they get it to a point where it's financeable, then they'll go back to the investor to ask if they want to continue to invest in the project or not. Once the project is financed, that seed fund money at finance goes back to filling the funds. The fund just can continue to stay
Self-funding.
full. It's a cycle. It's like, in essence, it's kind of like a revolving loan fund. Once projects get financed, the money goes back in the pot. They will reach certain projects that will not work out, that will not pencil. That happens in development all the time. And that money will be lost. But once a project is financed, that money goes back to building funds.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Sean. Any other comments or questions? If not, at this time, I'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Davis?
Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes. And council proceeding on the Economic Development and Planning Department is a resolution in reference to authorizing the mayor, city manager to sign and amend the reciprocal easement agreement with Altera Phenix Shops LLC for the Village of Crosswind Development. Mrs. Davis.
Whereas the City Council of the City of Phoenix City would like to amend the reciprocal easement agreement, REA, with Altera Phoenix City Shops LLC for the Village of Crosswinds Development. And whereas the city is the holder of the ground leasee's interest and the holder of the sub-leasor's interest in the anchor parcel in the shopping center. And whereas this REA will allow Wendy's Restaurant the exclusivity that no entity may operate a quick service restaurant that primarily sells hamburgers and chicken sandwiches within any of the lots. And whereas this REA does not apply in any way to any full-time service, sit-down restaurant primarily selling hamburgers or chicken sandwiches. Now therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama does hereby authorize the mayor and city manager to sign any documentation necessary to execute the First Amendment to Reciprocal Easement Agreement with Altera Phoenix Shops LLC. Passed, approved, and adopted this 18th day of October, 2022.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Davis. Council, we've heard the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion, please. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
All right, motion, Councilwoman Johnson, and second by Councilman Day.
That's fine.
We have the motion and the second. Any comments or discussion, council?
You want to go over this, Sean, so they can, let's go over this again.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, yeah.
We'll understand that this has nothing to do with the adjoining properties or
They
across
own
the street.
This
They're
is just
developing
Altera's right there.
that
They own- which own the
body of
property.
land
Right.
that's right there at that spot, and I don't blame these people, I would do the same thing.
Right, but across the street and other places,
Across the street, right
Yeah,
next to
right.
it and everything else, which across the street, we also have another restaurant that's coming up over there too, and you'll see that coming through real
Right.
soon, Jack's. So the whole development is working out like we prayed for it to work out. But we want to make sure people understand that this body, that's not just locking everybody else out.
That's right. So honestly, these type of reciprocal easement agreements don't typically come to us. This is relatively unique for us to get this. Our involvement in this is because we lease the grocery store and the sublease. We lease the box and then sublease that to Renfro's Market. And that's truly our only involvement in this, and the only reason we're even asked to sign anything is because we do lease the grocery store. So what Wendy's is asking for, and again, I don't blame them either. It's actually a relatively typical ask for most restaurants, and especially the first
Oh,
one
yeah, it's
come
business.
into a development.
That's
They're-
business.
you know, They're willing to say, I'm willing to jump in first. I need some help jumping in first. I need to be given something, so to speak. And so they're asking for it. Altera Development has already given that to them for the out parcels. So any out parcel that's out there, and again, it's specific to quick service restaurants, fast food restaurants that deal in hamburgers or chicken sandwiches. I know some That probably eliminates a lot, but really it doesn't. I mean, there's a lot more out there that aren't hamburgers or chicken sandwiches specifically that they can go after and track. Our involvement is a grocery store. Basically what we're saying is we can't participate in tearing down a grocery store and putting a hamburger joint on it. That's essentially what that means we can't do. We wouldn't do that anyway. Doesn't limit any full-service restaurants. If there's a Red Robin, for lack of, if they're a hamburger joint, a full-service restaurant, doesn't eliminate anything in that regard. Just quick service or fast food in those specifics.
Just
Any
differentiate.
adjacent properties across the street doesn't limit that, just this piece. So again, I know it's a unique thought for us to be dealing with the reciprocal easement agreement for Wendy's, but because of our involvement with the lease, that is why we're involved with this. So, again, our chair is already given the parcels, so we have no say-so over that.
Any questions?
Well, basically what you're saying is anybody that would come in with that idea would approach them to do this, whether it be McDonald's, whether it be Chick-fil-A or whoever. They would have wanted to do the same thing, and of course Wendy's would be listed on the other list rather than say McDonald's, if McDonald's had done that, so.
That's absolutely correct.
And that's not gonna stop others from building in that general area out there, it just stops on that one particular piece of property.
That's correct.
So you're gonna see when they're successful out there, and we want Wendy's to be successful, you're gonna see others pop up on other pieces of property out there,
Well,
so.
we already have the other opportunity.
That's what you want to see, and that's what you're gonna have.
It's been encouraging because we've been working this for some time. Developers have been hard at it for a couple of years now. We opened up the grocery store in the middle of COVID, and so it's been a battle. So now we're finally getting the traction that we wanted, with not only the Wendy's but also the gas station beside it that's coming. Then Mr. Hunter mentioned across the street, there's actually 2 more things that are coming across the street. So we're finally beginning to see that traction build.
Which is good.
And I don't believe it's gonna slow down to a halt. I think we're gonna continue to see more and more fill that space relatively quickly.
But because these, I do want people that might be watching and listening, because we've got certain companies named in there. We are not against those companies. We're just using them as examples
That's right.
of the type of businesses
Yeah.
that would be. By no means are we limiting and, or don't want them to participate within our city and in that area down there. So, please, don't nobody read in the middle of that we don't want
And this-
McDonald's and Chick-fil-A and Burger King and them to be there.
It's a key to it too that they mentioned this verbiage in here, primary.
Yeah.
And basically, it could be a place right next door on the side of you, as long as their primary thing is not selling hamburgers.
Right.
Now, but you can go right in this, like the Merritt property is right next to it, you go right there and put McDonald's or Burger King on it. It's just this
Well, it's just
primary
business.
circle that's right here.
I just want to make sure people don't think that we're against them locating down there, because we're not. It's just, you're trying to categorize, certain type businesses, and of course, everybody's familiar with those businesses, so therefore you know
Yeah.
exactly what they're talking about when you mention one of them, because of all the advertising that they do. So, please don't let any of the people that always want to throw this negative stuff at us think that
Well, it's a
that
business.
we've thrown something out there that we don't want Chick-fil-A and everybody in our
No.
town, because that is not.
Far from the truth.
Right, it's the other way around. Exactly.
Okay.
Well, Sean, let me ask you this question. I realize, we're excited for those businesses coming down, which is District 3 representing. I'm excited, like you guys are. But let me ask you this, Mr. Hunter. On Crosswind Road going up the hill, that property facing that has nothing to do with the,
That's
private.
That's another private property that he's involved and worked with us. We talked to him, talked to Dr. Gordy several times. We had meetings with him and the property owners that's adjoining this land. And we're trying to make sure that as people see these things developing, they're coming more and more aboard to speak with economic development and planning department to make sure that they're there. It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
It's that everything that's happening is a real, especially during the times that we're going through now with the development that's coming towards us.
So we begin to get traction down there.
Oh, we're a lot
Yeah,
of traction.
that's good.
A lot
We've
of
got all those
traction.
interest rates as long as we can.
Yeah.
That's good.
And the good thing about it, while we're on here, so nobody, I always have to speak on this, so no area in the city will feel neglected. The same thing we're doing division plan and taking care of the downtown area and work with everybody that's around us, going out west, out 80.
Yeah.
Everybody sees the development. Like I say, yesterday, later on this, on 280 and 431, we see the new 2 developments that's coming there that's gonna be nice and unique, and we see 431. So we've hit every section and district of this city to make sure things don't escape. When you come through Phoenix City, that is somewhere for you to stop and have a place to rest, eat, whatever you want to do, as far as shopping and the whole work. So it's working for us, working for the city. And a lot of times you have to go to the basic part of things, don't make things so complex. And I think that's a lot of our success right now.
Well, we're very lucky in
Yes.
Phoenix City that every direction that we can go,
That's
It's
correct.
something.
there's activity going on.
That's correct.
Downtown happens to be right on the river, so that's as far east as we can go.
That's right.
But towards Ladonia out there, we're always growing that way, on what can go out there. Up north, 284, 31, you've got the subdivision all going on out Somerville Road. Then we've got crosswinds and everything on the south end of town. A lot of cities don't have that uniqueness. They may grow one spot or another spot or another spot, but it's not just because Phoenix City pushes for that, but that's part of the reason that we grow like that is because we push for each area to, the word equal would never be right, but for them all to be gaining something that they can gain in their area, and whatever that area is good for and can produce right there, our city goes for that in that area.
It's by
And so
design.
that's where we're unique in that, and I think it's a, pat on everybody's back that our city set up that way.
It's by design, Mrs. Bailey. That's one of the biggest complaints that I had when I came in as city manager during the worst recession that we ever had. So when we started to rebuild, dealing with the stimulus program going all the way back with 772, that was designed to help stimulate growth and build throughout the cities. We used all that. We tried to perfect that to get to this point. Now, that all was put in place because you have to listen, just like that. You hear very loudly when you all are running for elections and stuff. What is your campaign project? What are you going to do to get here? That's what we should be carrying out to make sure those things are going, but the continuity and consistency that we've been able to have over the years, and having people, different department heads that's been here with us consistently work with one another to grow to this point. And we've had to weather a lot of storms, during these past few terms to get to this point. So it is by design, and everything that we do consistently from these departments is to look at every area, because I want to eliminate those complaints that you didn't look at this district, or have council people that have to look and say, hey, buddy, you're working a little bit over here too much in this district here, and then the representation of the mayor and the at-large member that's got to look and engage with every district in the city. It's easy to put together. It's hard to keep the continuity together at times and staying consistent with the flow. And we make sure that we work at that.
And particularly the continuity of a council, which we have, which I'm proudly to
It
say.
changes every 4 years. Now, this term, and I don't think a lot of people realize this term is a 5-year term.
Yeah.
I still have 3 years left on this term, with what they had changes the governor had to make. And it plays into the way we can finish developing this city and all the things we can have moving forward. Because I do believe if you have, what we leave here, whatever time we leave here, if we have projects that work, that people are bought into, people that come into place, we'll hopefully try to continue that and make it better.
Exactly.
That's where
the goal.
Let me also say, Mr. Hunter, that's a key point there. And I think one thing that I have heard from constituents is about balance. We can have balance in our community. This municipality could not have, in the past may have had many businesses and retail opportunity on one side and did not have it on another side, or did not have it in the middle. So we have always focused on balance, as far as I can see, and I would continue to enlighten our constituents about, there's retail development and opportunity for growth and revenue throughout Phoenix City, as I see it now. And so I think that's one thing that the trajectory is to make sure that continues to happen, so that, again, we can create that balance among our community.
Yes, ma'am. And what we're doing as a city is put together what they do in the planning department. As this city is reshaped, and the things that we're getting ready to do now, and your zoning and your different areas, it's just like I get beat on the head a lot of time. Well, why don't you do this on this certain road? Well, that road is not the functional road of that area anymore. You're not gonna put businesses there. They're gonna locate where you have the traffic counts and where people, so
And
they can
people
stay in
really
business.
need to understand that.
And that's what we're trying to make sure we open up the doors to educate people on, so they would understand that. We're not structuring this city based off the 40s, because the population is totally different. We're structuring it based off of having 40,000 people to grow to 50. That's a goal, to try to get to that, because it changes a lot of stuff for the city.
would be
and the
beneficial.
opportunities that you can get within the city, and being an attractive city with the industries that we have that's locating here, that's coming here. We won't control, we're trying to make sure we can put the city together to control certain areas, because we won't control the population in a short while. And that's because jobs are gonna be here opening. When they finish opening these plants and get these places built,
Yeah.
people will be locating here. And to make sure that we can fit everything in, you have to be ahead of that game. And making sure, and that's part of the offer, where people would know where they are building and putting things out. Nobody's gonna build a place to go out of business.
If they
Let me
can't
put it
get their
that way.
return back.
I have a lot of people, that's correct. You have to have a return. If we get built certain things, assemblies, during the time when COVID hit and the recession, somebody got to pay the bill on that place. They got to pay the payment on that. So it wasn't a smart thing to do at that particular time, but the door's opening back up, where some other things that we can put together and take care of in partnerships, because one main thing we were talking about doing, we were talking about before the pandemic creeped in and all the great national resignation from jobs creeped in, was looking at the center that we can have people, conference center here. Now, you're talking over $100 million project. You just don't go into that, and then you get shut down and can't have people there to make the money to take care of it. And you have places throughout the nation that shut down, that was just opening up, that couldn't sustain itself, And I tell a lot of people a lot of times, don't look across the river, because what the Bradley Center built over there, and that family and that company of families, they own their construction company. They own everything. That's theirs. That's unique too, in a lot of places. You can't look over there what they're doing, but at the same time, they own property on this side, where it's plans to develop also. So all this a matter of time now, and it's starting to move. But our thing is getting this information out to people that will watch this program. We'll take a look at Facebook and Twitter and things we got out there to inform them, not just believing someone else. One thing that does bother me, and I might as well say this on TV, we have someone out there that's putting things about our financial situation on Facebook. But I'll tell anybody this, with the credit rating that we have, if those things were true, we would not have that rate. You got to make your mind up when you're making these false accusations about the city. If the city is broke, how can the city lose $26 million? There's no way. That math don't work out. But they will put things out there like that. But then in the same message, the city also has $40 million. Now, they're confusing people. It's no way. So if people want to know what financial situation the city is in, come get your documentation from our clerk's office. The people that check us with Standards and Poor's, if you think we're not telling the truth, get your information from them. But not this stuff off Facebook with somebody who's disgruntled decided to sit down and put a bunch of false information out about the city. Please do that.
Well, if you look over the past 6 months, the big ticket items that we have spent, as we spoke of yesterday, we spent millions and have not, by the grace of God, been able not to be able to borrow any money. We've done it on a cash basis, so all you have to do is just look at the numbers, come down as the city manager said, and we'll be more than happy to show you. But we do, as Mr. Bailey mentioned, listen, it's some great times in Phenix City, and people wants to be in Phenix City, and people wants to come to Phenix City. So let's take it for what it is and be grateful and thankful, and let's keep pushing. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
So with that said, at this time, council, I'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Davis?
Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
And now, council, on the engineering department, we have a resolution in reference to authorizing the mayor and the city manager to purchase a 25-foot tilt equipment trailer from Chattahoochee Trailer in an amount not to exceed $20,899. Mrs. Davis.
Whereas the Street and Drainage Division of the City of Phoenix City Public Works Department is in need of a new equipment trailer, and whereas 3 quotes were received for a new 25-foot tilt equipment trailer. 1, Southeastern Trailer in the amount of $22,900. 2, Chattahoochee Trailer in the amount of $20,899. 3, Econoline Trailers Incorporation in the amount of $19,855. And whereas the Phoenix City Public Works Department recommends Chattahoochee Trailer, being that the company is able to deliver the trailer within approximately 1 month as opposed to 6 to 8 months from Econoline Trailers, Inc. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama does hereby authorize the mayor and city manager to purchase said trailer from Chattahoochee Trailer in an amount not to exceed $20,899, passed, approved, and adopted this 18th day of October 2022.
Thank you, Mrs. Davis. Council, we've all heard the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion, please. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion from Councilman Day. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Gordy. Comments or discussion?
Yes, looking at this 10-ton trailer, you can put your heavy equipment on it and move from one part of the city to the other, right?
Yes, sir.
And faster that way,
Yes, sir.
instead of driving it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, discussion? All right, Mrs. Davis?
Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes. Proceeding on the police department, we have a resolution in reference to authorizing and directing the mayor, city manager, and chief of police, Raymond J. Smith, to enter into an agreement for administration of grant funds through the SEAR HSO-ESCC- Community Traffic Safety Program from October the 1st, 2022 through September the 30th, 2023. Mrs. Davis.
Whereas the Phoenix City Police Department wishes to participate in the Southeast Region Community Traffic Safety Program and has been awarded grant funds to participate in the program beginning October 1st, 2022 through September 30th, 2023. And whereas said funds are provided by ADECA and are administered through Southeast Alabama Regional Highway Safety Office Enterprise State Community College and shall be used to pay for overtime and traffic endorsement costs. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama, that the mayor and city manager as authorizing officials and Raymond J. Smith as chief of police are hereby authorized and directed to enter into an agreement for the administration of SEAR HSO-ESCC Community Traffic Safety Program funds for the October 1st, 2022 through September 30th, 2023 funding period. Passed, approved, and adopted this 18th day of October 2022.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Davis. Council, we've heard the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion, please. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
All right, we do have a motion from Councilman Gordy. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Bailey. Council, are there any comments or discussion?
This is a different one. We don't share this one with the sheriff department. This is a different one. Is that right?
Actually, the Sheriff's Department participates in this grant as well. This is from the Southeast Regional Traffic Safety Program through ADECA. And what this program does is it allows us to use overtime funds and get reimbursed from the grant, so we don't have to pay the overtime funds to put additional officers on the street specifically for traffic enforcement. What that does is it frees up officers from having to, be tied up answering, or they can answer calls without being tied up with work and traffic enforcement issues. So we've been doing this grant for a number of years. Every year we apply for a new bucket of money, but this is a program that nearly all law enforcement agencies in the state of Alabama utilize. And again, it just adds additional officers to the street, without costing the city any additional funds. We can actually get those funds reimbursed by the grant.
Okay, so we split the other grant and this grant with the sheriff department.
Well, this grant again is not split with anybody. This is a grant specific to the Phenix City Police Department.
Okay.
But other agencies,
Participate.
including Sheriff Department, participate in this grant as well. This is just our bucket of money for this department.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Smith. Thank you, Mr. Day. Any other comments or discussion? If not, at this time, I'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Davis?
Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next, council on the Utilities Department. We have a resolution in reference to authorizing and directing the mayor and city manager to sign and enter into an agreement with Adura Group Incorporation, formerly Constantine Engineering, to perform additional engineering services to the WWC Bridgewater Drive Sanitary Project in an amount not to exceed $36,670. Mrs. Davis.
Whereas Resolution 2020-122 authorized Constantine Engineering to provide professional engineering services of Task Order 25 for the design, bidding, and construction management of a project to install a sanitary main along Bridgewater Drive and the creek south of Bridgewater Drive. And whereas the property owner to the south and west of the existing sanitary main being replaced would not allow the city of Phenix City to install the new sanitary sewer main on their property, which required additional professional engineering services for analysis of alternate routes for the new sanitary sewer. And whereas Ardura Group, Inc., formerly Constantine Engineering, has submitted a proposal for said additional professional engineering services in an amount not to exceed $36,670. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama, does hereby direct and authorize the mayor and city manager to sign documents for said additional professional engineering services for the WWC Bridgewater Drive Sanitary Sewer Project. Passed, approved, and adopted this 18th day of October 2022.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. Hey, it ain't as easy sometimes. That tongue will get twisted.
It does.
Brain will have a cramp.
I got brain cramp.
It happens. Thank you, you did good. Council, we've heard the reading of the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion, please. May I have a
Motion to approve.
Motion, Councilwoman Johnson. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Bailey. Comments or discussion? Okay. Mrs. Davis?
Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now, council, proceeding on the ordinance. We do have a public hearing in second reading. It's an ordinance to annex 2.2 acres of land lying in Section 5, Township 17 North, Range 30 East, Russell County, Alabama, into a C4 zone located off of Highway 280-431. D. Scott Lindstrom, owner, representative. Again, this is the second reading, council. I will not ask the clerk to reread it, but now is the time that I would like.
I'm with Lindstrom and Company. We are the development company for this project. I'm here to answer any questions that the council may have. I think it's going to be very beneficial to the city.
Okay. Any question, council? Or comments? Well, we certainly appreciate you wanting to come here. It validated what we just said earlier, that people wants to come here, and this is an example. This validates it, and we certainly appreciate you all wanting to be here.
I have a question.
Yes.
Why did you all want to come to Phenix City?
You look at the Columbus MSA, which includes Phenix City, and for a lot of the, I try to work with, some national retailers and clients, was a void for them. And so, the traffic counts were there, the demographics were there, and I think it was time. And just had to illustrate that for a lot of these tenants, and they're excited to be here as well.
And that's basically that this business, this city at this particular time with traffic counts and the population could support those business like that. So that's all in the timing mechanism of that. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Yes.
It's been a difficult piece of property to work with.
Yeah.
But we're able to get 6 pad sites out of it. Well, I can't tell you any specific
Yeah, we understand.
retailers'
Mhm.
names. I can say that we have a national coffee chain. We've got an urgent care facility. We've got a national fast casual Mexican chain. We're proposing a multi-tenant building that'll have 3 restaurants in it, all national. And we're talking to a national oil change facility as well.
And then that's exciting. That's exciting. We certainly appreciate you all wanting to be here, and it just, what you've done is just validate what this council, what we've been saying, and to show our forth righteousness too, so we certainly appreciate it.
And welcome to Phenix City.
Thank you
and
so much.
I hope our citizen heard everything that you said.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comment? If not, council, I am declaring this public hearing closed. As I stated, I would not ask the acting clerk to read the second reading, but at this time, I would like to ask for a motion, please. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion. Got a motion from Councilwoman Johnson. May I have a second? Second,
I didn't mean to
Gordon.
start you there.
One there.
She wanted to make that.
That's good news for Phenix City.
I thought
That was heard all the way around the world.
I thought you were tilting over there. I just, as I said, I thought you were tilting over there, so.
I was waiting for her to start preaching.
So we have the motion in the second, council. At this time, I'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Davis.
Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, council board appointment to tree commission. We did table this at our last council meeting, which was at the 4th of this month. So at this time, council, I would like to open up for any nomination for anyone that would have an opportunity to serve on the tree commission. Are there any nominations, please?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to nominate Deborah Patterson
Okay.
to serve on the tree commission.
Okay, we do have a nomination. At this time, council, I am declaring this nomination closed, and I would at this point in time ask that we have a motion to appoint Deborah Patterson to the tree commission.
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Councilman Gordon. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Day. Thank you all. At this time, we'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Davis?
Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we'd like to turn it over to our attorney counsel, Mr. Jimmy Graham. Mr. Graham?
Yes, sir. Mayor and council, we have 2 claims on the agenda today. The first claim is from Antonio Harris and Sharitha Chin Harris. They were traveling along 13th Avenue, about 22nd Street, on Wednesday, August the 17th. They hit a pothole that damaged their vehicle. You've got a memorandum from our department head that said the Public Works Department was not aware of the pothole. Public Works repaired the pothole on Tuesday, August 22nd. So it just shows that when we know something like that exists, we jump on it, okay, even though we're shorthanded. And Alabama law says that if we don't have notice of a condition like that, then we're not liable. And we had no notice of that, and therefore I'm going to recommend denial of the claim.
Okay. Council, we've heard the recommendation from our attorney. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve that recommendation. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
All right, motion, Councilman Gordon. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Bailey. Okay, at this time, I'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Davis?
Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, the second claim is filed by Annie Thomas. Ms. Thomas had tire damage where she hit a hole where we had been doing some road work. It damaged her right tire. We had up the proper signage. You got the memorandum from the department head. and also the picture that he had where the signs were, and, you know, maybe she didn't see them. But, you know, when we've got the proper signage up and it says road construction, then we're not liable, and I'd recommend denial of this claim.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Graham.
Yes, sir.
Council, we've heard the recommendation from our attorney. At this time, I'd like to ask that we have a motion for that approval of his recommendation.
Motion to approve.
All right. Motion by Councilman Day. May I have a second? Second. Second, Councilman Bailey. Okay. Call for the vote. Mrs. Davis?
Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mayor, that's all.
Mrs. Davis? Thank you all so much. We don't have anything under the city manager, so council, at this time, are there anyone that would like to have a few words, please?
I would if I may, Mayor. Thank you. I just want to thank, I didn't get a chance, I see she has already left the building, Minister Alice Hubbard, for coming, doing the invocation. I know it just takes a lot of time and effort, you know, and I know that ministers are quite busy these days, and we just thank her for her presence today. The Friends of the Library, the resolution that was given out today was well-deserved.
Proclamation,
Excuse me. Proclamation was well-deserved. But I just want to reiterate what Ms. Powers said. It is going to be a library book sale at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on October the 20th. So again, I think she mentioned Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Come out and support those efforts. A lot of great things are happening in Phenix City. A lot of great things are happening at our library. So we definitely want to support those initiatives that are being fulfilled over in the 2nd District. And there's an event that's coming up that is quite well known, but again, is to always increase awareness. We celebrate October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and there's an event that is going to be at the Woodruff Park this Friday on the 21st from 4 to 6 p.m. It's going to be the 5K run, and I'm going to attempt to do it again. But again, it's all about raising awareness of breast cancer and supporting the efforts behind that. But again, it's a Paint the Town Pink event on Woodruff Park this Friday on the 21st. Women will be thriving in pink and have been thriving in pink. And I think, you know, a lot of us, and I just heard a report this morning on Good Morning America, that a lot of us have delayed the appointments for our breast cancer, breast mammograms. But don't let that stop you. We've all gone through something over these past 2-3 years with COVID. But if you're out there, women, anyone, individuals, men also can, have this disease. But go and take care of what is necessary, and that is our lives, so that we can continue to take care of other people. So I'm 110% into this. I support this 110% on every level. But again, we thank those that are out there that are doing what is necessary to save lives. So again, if you can, come out and support that event, and go online, and there's a lot of ways that you can support, whether emotionally, physically, or financially, for this very, very important cause. To the citizens of Phenix City, we continue to make sure that our city continues to be a thriving community. So we thank you. I just ask that you continue to be safe. We do have an event that's coming up at the end of the month, the Halloween event. Whatever you're doing, continue to be safe and vigilant. And we'll continue to make sure that, our city continue to be the thriving place to live, worship, and work. And we thank you so much. But again, support these events, and we'll continue supporting you. Thank you so much, Mayor.
Just like to say, thank you to everybody that worked so hard in both cities, Columbus and Phenix City, with the rafting and the kayaking. It was a big event nationally, internationally. It's going to get bigger each year. It was very successful. Congratulations to the winners here in town. We've got something very unique down there, and it seems like people from other places realize it more than we do. But the more we talk about it, the more local people are getting into it, and the more local people are starting to enjoy it. And it's going to grow and get bigger and bigger. Also,
Excuse me.
our city, as we were talking about a while ago, city manager, we're growing in multiple directions. And it's not by accident, it's by design, just as he said. The timing has been what's thrown off the last couple of years. But it's been COVID, and we're not through it, it's not over, it never will be. It's just going to be something that's going to come and go as the flu, cold, and as the seasons change 4 times a year on our calendar. But we're going to move forward. Everyone at this table tries to be transparent. In the work session yesterday, we had the same thing comes up continuously about people wanting to annex into the city for the school system. And right or wrong, we have to be consistent. And you can't do certain things, and we're not going to do certain things that are not correct or not right or should not be done. And things that should be done, hopefully, that's the ones that we do, that's the ones that we are challenged on, and that's the ones that we perform at our best. But people that want to be negative about the city all the time, and you're going to have those, please do as our city manager and our mayor said a while ago. Call someone, ask someone, dig down to the truth. Don't just take it for word because it's on your telephone or because it's on Facebook or because it's on the computer or just because somebody tells you something. Ask about it, question it. And if it sounds wrong, question it for sure. Because that's the things that you should question, the things that sound wrong and sound the worst or sound not to be correct or something that's going negative. That's the one you should speak out the loudest on, so get the best information you can on those. Just because we sit here and tell you something is all perfect, question us. Let us prove why we tell you that. Let us show you why we tell you that. There's a reason that we do, and we can back up what we tell you. So always, when you question us, we can show it. I'm very proud of where our city's been. I'm very proud of where our city is today, and I'm excited about where our city is headed in the future. And just as that development out on 280 and 80, 280 and 431, certain areas of our city are growing, and sometimes it's large steps, sometimes it's small steps, but each one of them is a step in the right direction. And that's all I'm looking forward to right now, is get our city back on track after COVID and get these steps going again. And at some point in time, you're going to see our city take off running. And when you see our city take off running, you're going to wish you had been in on it.
That's good.
Thank you.
Thank you. If not, Mr.
Okay. Just a couple of things while people are watching. We have a lot of people don't realize Phenix City is set in 2 counties, Russell and Lee County. A lot of our residents in the Lee County portion are receiving fire fee bills from Lee County. We don't handle those at the city of Phenix City. We don't have anything to do with that. So you have to deal with your government in Opelika when you receive those fire fee bills. That's something that they put out. So I want to make sure they get that information while a lot of people, because we received a lot of calls on that, and that's more in the northern portion of the city where Lee County is located in Phenix City. The other thing I want to do, because we plan to have this family here, is whichever way Ms. Hardaway, Ms. Culligan, Ms. Curry, whoever want to speak on the events that we had on this part of the city and the family that we have located inside Phenix City that really represented the city real well, doing the activities and the comments that we got from a lot of people from not only other states, but other countries about how they enjoyed the event, and for people to understand what we have coming next year. That's much larger than what we had this year that we got to prepare for, because our city over the past month or so, and the people who stayed in tents so people wouldn't think otherwise, we had changed some things around where all these people was from nationally and the whole works. And you feel like, speaking on that?
Sure,
Yes.
absolutely. So, specifically, the first part you mentioned about our local family that represented themselves well, represented us well. It's the Hargrove family, and it's a unique thing, right? So, this community has been built around, let's just be real, football and baseball. We've been built around that forever, and we have legends that come from those two sports in particular. Mayor, you want to
It's overrated.
but I get that because that's the world that I come from too, right? But, not that level, but all right. But we built something kind of unique, which is fun. Is that this river it's truly special. The river itself is truly special, and it's attracted people that come and freestyle kayak all the time, just because it flows perfectly for them. And so we've got a local family, the Hargrove family. They're I think a family of 5 or 6 kids, I think. You know, so they actually live in town, and they drive their campers down in the winter months to live at the wintering ground so they can train. They actually homeschool their kids so they can train on a daily basis. When the water level is raised to what they want, they can stop school, arrive, they hit the waves. Super cool. So this past last week, we had 2 different tournaments that took place. Actually 3, if you include the squirt boat competition, but World Cup 1 and World Cup 2. World Cup 1 was at Ambush, the farthest most northern rapid. Mason Hargrove, which is the oldest son, and then McKinley Kate Hargrove, which is the oldest daughter. McKinley Kate won first in juniors, junior women, and Mason took first in his division as well. So represented fully. And then they also were very successful in World Cup 2. I don't remember off the top of my head what they ended up coming in, but I think Mason might have been number 3.
He came in third place.
Right. He came in 3, but he was leading for a while. You understand? He was beat by Dane Jackson, which is a
world number renowned.
Red Bull athlete.
Yeah.
He's the real deal when it comes to freestyle kayaking. And he's following his footsteps, and he's going to challenge them and push them out of the way, guaranteed, because he's a determined kid to make that happen. So that family has done a really good job representing us as far as this competition is concerned. To your point, people came, 16 countries came, they recognize what this river is, they recognize how they can train here. We fully expect the wintering grounds to grow. We've got to find a permanent full-time home for them eventually at some point in time when the Bradley Company develops their property. But we're working towards that. Something else you mentioned you wanted me to talk about. I can't remember what it is, but anyway.
Brain cramp, I told you it happens.
Well, I'm dealing with sickness too, so a lot of paperwork in the brain. So, but no, very successful event. We focused heavily on athlete experience. That was our number one thing. We've never had this before. We've had some smaller ones. This is the first national one that we've had. International one we've had. So we wanted to focus on athlete experience being our top number one priority. That's what it was, is that we really did hear from multiple athletes and multiple very prominent athletes that this was one of the best, if not the best, World Cup experience that they've had. So moving into the World Championships, we have full expectations. Now I'll throw numbers out there, but we expect to see probably north of 300 athletes, and we had 16 countries at the time, if not double that next year. So we got our feet wet. Now we know what to make changes on and adjust, but we felt like as far as athlete experience went well, and the actual events itself, man, if you had an opportunity to come down and experience any of it, it was a cool atmosphere. It really, really was.
It was.
Perfect for it.
Yeah, it was.
People were enjoying themselves.
And the events, economic boosts that we had,
Absolutely.
that go along with it.
We were down, and that's what we want to see more consistently, downtown events to drive people downtown. Making changes downtown, we want people to come downtown and experience and feel safe and know that that they can enjoy themselves in the downtown area. And that's what we want. And as it grows, they'll feel more and more. So this is great.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Honey, anything else?
No, sir, appreciate everything. Thank you.
Mayor, I'd like to say, as I listen very diligently, and I concur with what has been said already, but there's one item I'd like to elaborate on, and that's, I'm going to say support. We want to thank our police department and sheriff department came out to Greater Mount Zion on last Sunday, I believe it was. But anyway, I had the opportunity to go and visit that event and be well supported by the citizens and the kids down in, I'm going to say the south part of the city. And some of the things that I had the opportunity to meet the SWAT team, the young men's SWAT team members and stuff like that. Look at some of the things they do, and I talked to a few of them down there. I had the opportunity to talk to a member of the sheriff department. And it was very supported down there in the parking lot. And I think the kids had a good, exciting time down there from what I saw. Thank you, Mayor. That's all I have.
Thank you all. We certainly like to thank this council. As I stated before, we have a good council, doing it for the right reason, being wholesome and having a lot of integrity and transparency. Thanks to all our employees, the ones that is really giving it their all, that really make this city what it is. We're so much thankful and grateful to have the opportunity to be a part of Phenix City, and I want us to always find the positive things that are taking place. And when we fumble, we will admit it, we'll learn from it, and try not to fumble again. So thank you all for that, and certainly, as I always say, let's be a lifter and not a leaner for our community. And we certainly want to thank CTV Beam for bringing this to our citizens. Thank you all so much, and we do stand adjourned. Thank you.